Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here with you today. I am pumped for two reasons. Number one is we're going to be having a guest speaker on with Marta DeBerard. She is, if you've been to our conferences before and you've been able to experience the light therapy that is done at the conferences, then you've got a chance to probably most likely meet Marta. She's pretty amazing and she has a lot of great education and information for our audience today about light therapy. You can use them in your own home, but you can also use them in your wellness practice. Or if you are a health entrepreneur, that's something that you can also do as well. So I am so excited to be able to be here today. Let me just go ahead, and I also would like to tell you some of the things that I've been personally reading lately and what has made a really big difference in my own life as well. So we're going to go ahead and start off with that. You might be also seeing the ticker down below. I have a limited number of tickets that I am doing today throughout the rest of today. And that is for people who would like to attend the live Pocatello Energy Healing Conference. So I'm excited as heck about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and have you guys start out with sharing with me what is a book that you have been reading recently and what has made a really big difference for you in your life. Let's go ahead and start with that. My books are there's kind of a span with some different book suggestions based off of topics, and it was of course just things that I was really interested in learning more about, and most of them are available on Audible, so you can listen to them as well as do other things. Dishes, laundry, making dinner, driving, those kind of things. I like to be able to always have something in my brain and growing and learning like that. So does anybody have any good book suggestions that they've personally been experiencing? If you do, go ahead and drop that down in the comments. And I also have our business contest that is still happening. So you can learn more about the business contest right here on our Facebook page. Go to Energy Healing Conference and it's at the top. So in case you're on a different platform, because we're on several different platforms going right now. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start with the book by Adam Grant called Think Again. And has anybody read that? If you have, go ahead and let me know. This book has really helped me to identify some of the benefits of having an open mind and looking at different perspectives. And then also he walks you through some very detailed stories of why that's really beneficial, not just in your personal life, but also in the workplace and just in general. And for some of you, that might be like, duh, that's like common sense. You know what I mean? To have an open mind. But sometimes when you're raised with the thinking of absolutes or just black and white thinking, like it's all or nothing, right? That can be difficult to do that. And so by looking and allowing other people to also be understood and you to also receive understanding, it's a game changer. So that one has been really big. And I have used it in many different ways. Hi, Cassandra. She says, anything by Eckhart Tolle. Oh yeah, I've got Eckhart Tolle on the list here. Yep. That's the third one I'm going to be talking about. Have you read or listened to A New Earth yet? And I don't know that other author. I'll have to check it out. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I'm always open and looking for new ideas. So thanks for your comment. I really appreciate that. So Think Again by Adam Grant is my number one suggestion right now for those of you who maybe you're even seeing other people in your life that are like going against the upstream, right? Or going against the grain. And you're like, what is happening right now? That is a really, really good one. Think Again by Adam Grant. Okay, the next one is for couples, but not just for couples, even those of you who are single right now, who are considering how your childhood wounds are affecting your life. So this one right here is called Getting the Love You Want, and it's by Harville Hendricks and his wife. And I am so sorry, I do not have the name right here, but this one probably did save my marriage. And no kidding, my husband will say that too. And it is a really powerful book, and it helps you to be able to see different things on how what your life experiences from your childhood when you bring that to your romantic relationships, including marriage, but doesn't have to be in a marriage. And just how powerful it is, and how your relationship with yourself as a child, how that can, and others, right, including parents, and how that can affect your marriage, and about how it can affect your relationship, and even with your kids as well. So it's called Getting the Love You Want. Again, these are all on Audible, right? Cassandra's Dr. Estee wrote Women Who Run with Wolves. Ooh, that sounds really cool. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you so much for the suggestion. By the way, for those of you who are just barely tuning in, I'm so excited. I want to be able to talk about some of the books that I personally have been reading / listening to on Audible. So that's where we're going to start with right now. Please go ahead and share any that you also have been personally recommending to other people, or suggesting in your own, conversations with people as well. I love to always be able to continue hearing these. Cassandra says shadow work and inner child healing. Cool. I love it. Is that the name of a book, Cassandra? I love that. Thank you so much. Yes, I've definitely been diving into that. I love it. Okay. Oh, this maybe I'm like, I digress. Maybe this one should be my top recommendation. I'm not quite sure, but this one's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. And I had bought that one, like the credit or whatever, on Audible quite some time ago. And for whatever reason, I couldn't quite get into it. It just wasn't my time. Have you ever done that before, where you bought a credit or you bought a book on Audible or something, and then you just couldn't get into it? That's how this one was for me. And but we were camping this last weekend, and while we were camping, we were in no internet. And so, but I had downloaded that book. So I started listening to it, and I started looking at the accompanying PDF that comes with it. And I was just like, boom, this thing is exactly what I need at this exact time. And it is so powerful. And if you've ever studied anything with epigenetics or generational healing or family trauma being passed down, or even just repeated patterns, this one is so, so good. If you've read that one, please let me know. I did suggest it earlier this week, just because I couldn't wait until Friday. But yeah, it's really good. I just finished it, and I am definitely going to be listening to it probably several more times in the coming weeks. So yeah, it's really good. Oh yeah, gotcha, Cassandra. That's good. She says, no, I was just resonating with your relationship combo. Definitely good stuff, right? So that one really does talk about some very deep healing. If you have been experiencing this particular issue in not just your physical health, but emotional health, or different things that you can't quite understand or explain, like you're like, this doesn't even make any sense, but this is how I feel, and it just feels really real to you, really real. Then you definitely want to look at this book. So it's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark, and I'm going to spell the last name. It's Wolynn. So Mark Wolin. And again, it's just on Audible. I know it's done in other languages as well. It's a really powerful book. I want you to, if you're the type of person that you start listening to a book and you kind of have to like really get into it before you like to continue. I'm a type 1, addressing your truth. And so oftentimes I'll start a book, and if I'm not like loving the book after the second chapter, I stop. I'm not going to like waste my time. Right. And I absolutely love this one so much. I felt like it was so powerful, but I encourage you to push yourself through at least to the end of chapter 6. The chapter 6 and even into 7 walks you through some very particular, specific practices and a script even that is just like, whoa, what is this? And it's just what I needed right now. So I know sometimes you're like, start it and you don't need it right then, right? But it will come to you when it's supposed to. No, this is good. You're good. This is totally good. Okay, so my husband and I we like to listen to books together, and then we talk about it. And when it's on his break, then he'll call me and we'll discuss some of the details. What stood out to you in that chapter, or what did you learn, or what insight do you have? And I just called him and I was like ugly crying, like I was just this hot mess, and I'm like, this is what I felt, and this is what the insight I had. And he's like, well, I could have told you that. And I'm like, babe, what? How did you know that? And he's like, I think like all of your family knows that, like everybody knows that. Like, how did you miss that? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, I bet if you really had stopped to consider how this person in their life had this happen to them and how much it's affected you, even though it didn't really have anything to do with me. I was like 2 years old, but it's affected me so much. And it's just been so powerful. So I highly recommend that one. It's called It Didn't Start With You. I'll just spell his name one more time. Mark, Wolynn. And if you read it and you have, like you hate it and you want to tell me, you can, or if you like love it, or you got some good insight, please share with me. I love to discuss books and new information. And this is just awesome. Thank you so much, Adriana, for that suggestion as well. She says The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins is one of my favorite books. That is a really good one. I like Mel's work as well. So very cool. I'm excited. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for what you're doing as well. That's so cool. She says she's a deep trauma healer and coach. I love it. Okay, so the next book that is on my list that I wanted to share is an author that Cassandra did mention earlier in our conversation today, and that is Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. And if you're on like Spotify or other places, there's a lot of different interviews that have been done by Eckhart Tolle. One of them that I listened to was by Oprah, where both of them were taking in questions and they were talking about this book. And I actually listened to those conversations before I actually got the book myself. And then I went ahead and started listening to the book. And what really stuck out to me was his personal story. How he begins the book was he was talking about how he was in such a rough state, even suicidal, and just having a really hard time. And then when he was able to do a few things, he started to look at things in a totally different way. And it's a spiritual book. It's not a religious book, but it's a spiritual book. And it's definitely one that I feel like is a breath of fresh air. If you're looking for different perspectives on different things, it's one of those books that you definitely do not want to turn the speed up on. I usually do that with a lot of books, and then I'll listen to it multiple times. But this one, you actually want to keep the speed kind of where, just on your regular, so that you can really like bring that information into you and digest it. And it's just so good. It is so, so good. Oh, thank you for the suggestion there as well. Okay, the next one is by Brene Brown, and this book is definitely a must. It's called Braving the Wilderness. And I know, right, Cassandra? In fact, I even did only one chapter at a time with Eckhart Tolle, so that I could really like be thoughtful and considerate and really bring that information inside of me. And it was a good one. And it's definitely one that I know that I will listen to again for sure. So back to Braving the Wilderness. Who has read that one? Just give me like a thumbs up or a high five or like your favorite emoji or whatever, and let me know. Have you actually read that one before? I would love to hear from you. Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. So Brene has a really awesome way of talking about authenticity and being vulnerable that I just really admire. And I love her just bullcrap approach to everything that she does. She's just really sweet. in the way that she touches and connects with people. And I really love it because if you are looking at going against the grain, if you're looking at being authentic and true to yourself, to your own heart, the Brene Brown book called Braving the Wilderness is definitely for you. It's what you're looking for. If you have encountered any sort of transition where you have to go against the grain, whether it's energy healing, right? Or starting a new business, or going through a breakup or a divorce, or even, having a faith transition or anything like that. This book, Braving the Wilderness, is all about being true to your own heart and standing up for what's you. And it is so powerful. Like, it is just absolutely, like, I cried and I felt inspired, and I felt like it helped me to muster up courage through some things that I'm personally going through. Oh my gosh, it's like making me all, whew. Anyway, if that's something that you've been wanting to do, this is definitely your ticket. Like, this book is just so powerful. So nobody's read that one yet. Nobody's saying that they've read that one. That's like so crazy. You guys got to definitely get that one. Adriana says, could you ask your husband for a book list? My husband would like more books geared towards men. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll ask him. That's a great idea. Oh yeah, Dr. Joe Dispenza. We have lots of his books on there. Yeah, anything with Dr. Joe, Adriana, would be amazing. I absolutely love it. I've listened to the Placebo book of his probably at least 100 times. Chapter 7, I've personally listened to at least 200 times. I just kept that whole chapter on repeat and just kept listening to it over and over. I felt like it actually helped me to understand energy healing from a different perspective. And so people ask me all the time, like, well, what's the proof behind energy healing? What's the science? And I can send them links on research and papers all day long. But if they don't know how to dissect it, differentiate it, or be able to understand it, then it doesn't really do me any good. But chapter 7 in that book was just like mind blowing. And I don't think it's available on Audible anymore, because I've sent a few people to go get it. And they're like, I can't even find it on there. But if you go to his website, I think you'll be able to explain it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Cassandra says he helped me to be able to describe energy healing to others better. Yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. Yes, thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for your comments. And again, for those of you who joined us after the beginning, when we were very first starting, we want to invite you to share a book that you personally have already read or listened to, and that you suggest and why. So please go ahead in the comments and you can share with that. And thank you so much for doing that. The next one I absolutely love as well. It is by Jen Sincero. And I'm kind of embarrassed when I very first bought her first book. I actually deleted it off of my Audible account. And I was like so frustrated with the amount of cussing that was in it, because I didn't really, I was opposed to that back then. Let's just put it that way. Now I'm like, it's fine. I can handle it. But don't get this one if you don't like cussing at all. Okay. But it is called You Are a Bad Beep at Making Money. And I love it so much. It literally goes through and talks about your belief systems about money. And it's not as simple as that, because what you're talking about here is it's not like, if you watched your parents or whoever it was that raised you, and you watched them through your upbringing do all of these things, but then they said, don't do this. Well, you end up modeling most of the time, not always, but most of the time, what they do. You end up repeating or at least learning, right? What you don't want to do. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for being here. That's awesome. Anyway, I just found that particular book to be very insightful. And in my money class that I taught last quarter, we talked a lot about this book and some of the principles in that one as well. So it's really, really good. All right. So that's like what, 5 books. Let's do a quick recap here on the books that we've been talking about so far. Think Again by Adam Grant, Getting the Love You Want by Dr. Harville Hendricks, and then It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. That's the one that I was telling you about generational healing. And then also, if you guys are interested, there is the show that someone had recommended to me here on this page that I absolutely love. And it's a show on Netflix, which I found to be quite cool. And it really goes through and talks about the concepts, but it does it in like a movie type way, you know? Let's see, it's called Another Self. So thank you for whoever it was that recommended that, because my husband and I have been watching an episode every night since then. So we just finished episode 4 last night, and we're just like, dang, this talks about the things that we've personally come to know, and also have experienced a lot in our own life. And so I just thought that it would be pretty cool. So, okay. The other books, let's see, I'm doing a quick recap here, is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown, and then You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. So all of those books are the books that I would recommend. And yeah, it was really good. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Loved Wild at Heart. I think that's actually one a friend mailed to me, Adriana. So she lives in Colorado and she sent it to me. So it would be really awesome to, maybe we should do like a men's book club or something. I've actually been talking to some guys that have been producing retreats specifically for men around the topic of healing, where they do a lot of modalities right in person. And I've been doing women's retreats like that since 2011, but I've never actually seen a men's retreat where, I mean, I'm a woman, I'm not going to do the men's retreat, but yet they're needed, you know? So I'm so freaking glad that there's all these amazing men's retreats that are coming out. And if you are interested in that, but you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and look from my post. I believe it was 2 days ago. And then you can see all of the people that are getting tagged. And actually there was even more on my personal page. On my personal page, when I asked about it, I think there was like almost 100 comments just right there in that one day. So you'll have to check out both for sure. My personal page, just in case you don't follow me there, is Tammy Anderson Ward. So Anderson with an O. Let's see. Adriana says, and when Girl Wash Your Face by, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's it. It's all about the timing, right? The other thing is, honestly, sometimes people aren't really like book focused, or that's not something that they want to do in their life right then. And I get that. That's totally fine. I went through years of like literally not really reading any books just for myself personally. I read books to my kids, but not for myself. If you are wanting to be able to get like a reset or a boost, something like that, I highly recommend, if you're able to, coming to one of our conferences. It's such a good self-care activity to be able to come to. So we've got October 8th is our Pocatello, Idaho conference. It has been a sold out event the last 4 times we've been at this venue. It's going to be held at ISU. And right now we have about 40 vendors. We have room for about 10 more. And we're just so excited. One of our vendors and our most popular speakers is going to be joining us for a spotlight in just a moment. I'd like to go ahead and introduce you. And then we're going to go ahead and talk for a few minutes about what light therapy is. So this is Marta DeBerard. She has been at every single one of our conferences, or at least her team has. And they are so generous, you guys. They give complimentary light therapy treatments for every single person that comes to the conference. So I've had people come and go from the conference not even knowing what they were. They kind of saw them in the distance. So here's your heads up. Make sure that you look for them right when you very first get to the conference. After you check in and get registered, go look for them, get on their schedule, because of course, they run out of room, you know, so it's a first come, first serve type of opportunity. But when you get there, you actually will get to go lay down in this wonderful zero gravity chair So you get to kick back and relax. Sometimes people snore. That's okay. That's allowed. Totally invited. But you can totally get this experience for yourself. And I'm just so thankful to have them as our speakers and as our vendors. We always give them just a little bit of extra space because they are so generous. I tell people, even if you just come to the conference for that, it's worth it. And then also there's other things there at the vendor experience. You can go around and sign up for other opportunities. There's foot zoners, there's gemstone sales, of course, and crystals. There's going to be some authors there doing author signings. There's just some really, really fun stuff that's going to be happening at this conference. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments here in just a moment so that you can check that out. And then we'll go ahead and bring Marta on. So I'm excited. Hello, how are you, my friend?
I am awesome. I am great. It's a fabulous Friday. How are you doing?
Oh, so good. So good.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love being with you. Of course, your energy is great. And this is always a wonderful community. So thanks for having me.
Thanks. I know you're an avid reader, so you probably were like listening in a little bit. We've been talking about some of the books that we've been listening to and reading and some of the suggestions. I'm so excited. I'd actually really love to find out if you have any book suggestions on light therapy as well. So you're a big time educator. I'm like, she's definitely got some book titles up her sleeve over there.
Yes, I do. Oh, yes. One of my favorite is Light Medicine of the Future. It's a book by Dr. Jacob Lieberman. And actually anything by Jacob Lieberman is great. He has another, that's like that's like kind of like, like one of the first kind of Bibles of light therapy, because it's actually back from the early 90s. But which sounds like to me, as a child of the 60s, I'm like 90s. That just seems like yesterday, but that was a long time ago now, right? That's 30 years ago. Anyway, but Light Medicine of the Future is a really great one. But Jacob Lieberman himself is actually one of the really great mentors to me in the field of light. When I first started, with light therapy, we had a friend who, she just looked younger, and I was like, I don't know what she's doing, but she just looks younger, she just looks happier. And she lived in Colorado, where we were originally from. And I just remember my mom said, yeah, she's using some kind of light therapy. I'm like, I have no idea what that would be, but whatever she's doing, she should keep doing it. I remember thinking that. And then like 2 years later, my dad had a really bad health issue with a blood clot in his leg. And my mom remembered hearing how light could help with circulation and all these things. And so anyway, we ended up going down this road. And today, I loved one of your posts on your Facebook is talking about kind of moving forward, even when you have doubts and everything. It was a neat post about just follow your heart. Well, my mother and I followed our hearts, because after having this amazing experience with my dad, where he really just his whole vitality, his circulation, everything improved after literally like taking light and like putting it on his body, which I thought, I don't even know why this works. I don't even know how this works. And so Jacob Lieberman ended up being a super great mentor, because my mother and I we started sharing this light therapy with other people because it was working so well with us. And we just took a leap of faith that other people would want to know about it, because we thought, so profound, like why shouldn't people all know about this, right? And we flew to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to something called the International Light Association Conference. And it was people from all over the world, researchers, like amazingly cool people to rub noses with, rub elbows with. It was just amazing to see that this kind of information was still in its infancy in a lot of ways. And this was like a while ago, over 8 years ago. And I remember seeing Jacob Lieberman there and just being like, oh my gosh, there's Jacob Lieberman, I don't know, like how you get with certain people and you're like, I don't think he, puts his pants on the same way as anybody else. Like he must like levitate into them or something. I didn't know, but I was just enthralled with these people who had been like learning about this, learning about the power of light and in all different ways. And I remember thinking, well, he'll never even talk to me. But eventually we did end up like just connecting with him, asked him to speak at a conference. He loved that. He got our light system. He actually became a big mentor in helping us design other products. And he's currently designing a cool product for us as well. And he's an optometrist who had such great vision responses with light. And then he realized that it wasn't just about vision, it was about, your emotional health and all these things. And so he's kind of more in the line of, just how much light impacts your spirit, your mind, your body. So he has another really great book called Luminous Life. And that's his most recent book. And I highly recommend both of those. So Light Medicine of the Future and Luminous Life. He is, yeah. And the cool thing is he works with us all the time. We have a lot of his talks on our websites and on our Facebook group. So I have that. You can see it right. The Power of Light Facebook group. One of the cool things about getting associated with us is that you can just join that group. You can ask to join it. It's a private group, but we'll happily let anyone who's just interested in learning more about these things. We let you in, and then we do a week. Well, gosh, we do like 4 weekly educational things. So we're really into empowering people with education, and you can have access to those. You can see when they're going to come up, and you can join us on our Zoom room, or you can see past recordings. Like I've literally gone through every single light color of the chakras, the major chakras, and I've explained like what the power of orange light is, for instance, like kind of what orange as a color does, kind of all those things. I've gone through with all. You can see the chakra blanket before me. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and so like that series is right there as a guide. So you can kind of listen to as much as you want. You can really get detailed information. Anyway, that is a great thing to do. And a lot of the information we've learned is from Jacob Lieberman. There's another one that I really recommend from a gentleman named Anna D. Martel, and it's a book called Light Therapies. Anna D. Martel is a Canadian researcher, and he also came to and talked at one of our conferences. Met him, same thing. I was like, I don't even know if this guy walks on like land, like he seems to just hover. He literally was a student of Osho's. I don't know if you know Osho, but he's like a famous, guru. He's no longer alive, but he's like right up there in the guru world. Anyway, this guy literally was a monk with him. And then it's interesting to see how the wisdom of light has, gone forward, and with these researchers, these doctors, but they also have a step in how important spiritually light is. So they're really great people to work with. I recommend both of those books.
Okay, so I have 2 questions for you, because I get these questions all the time. People will come and ask me, and I'm like, you should go talk to Marta. So one of them is, like, why is this system different? Like, why would that be different than maybe like putting a light from the light bulb, from your lamp on you, or just going outside in the sun? Like, what's different about what you guys have? Like, literally people ask me this all the time, and I'm like,
yeah, of course. I know it when I first started working with the lights, my husband was like, okay, first of all, it's one of those things. It's kind of like food supplements. Like, you kind of like, do we really need this? Can't we get this all from the food we have and all these things? And it's really come to the situation where we kind of need light supplements. And so I remember thinking, like, why would this even, work? Like I told you. And my husband was like, just wrap some Christmas lights around yourself and call it good. It's got to work, just as well. So at this same conference, at this International Light Association back in Florida, I remember listening to a researcher, and she was actually from like a government board or something. And she was really concerned because she was like, I don't know. I mean, this whole light emitting diode, which is kind of what we work with, because it came out of the laser industry, but it's safe. Like I can put this right over my eyes, open or closed, and I don't have to worry my thyroid, things like that. So laser light, you could possibly damage some tissue because it's so concentrated. And so that's why, when you work with lasers, sometimes you have to wear the glasses, and so lasers have gotten less and less powerful, right? Like now they have low level laser, and what they realized is that the body, the body takes in light like it does with sun. So it really wants the sunlight, and the sunlight is so critical to us. But like today, it's like polluted out with the air pollution. And I mean, I start every day with both light therapy, and then I go out and be in the sun too. But if I was in the sun as much as I would love to be, I would also just have so much damage, because the sun has, especially where we live in this higher altitude, a lot of UV and extra heat. So of course, if it's 100, it's hard to stay out there for very long, right? Like, I even did my yoga in outside yesterday in the shade, because I just couldn't handle how warm it was already in the morning. And then, so extra heat and UV actually can damage us, right? They damage cellular processes. So being in the sun is great, but most of us are wearing sunscreen or wearing different things, and we're not getting our whole body that experience unless you're going around, without any clothes on. You're not necessarily getting your liver and your kidneys and a couple of those other key places, the light it needs. And most of us, when we go outside, what do we do with our eyes? We put sunscreen, sunglasses on. We put a hat on.
I literally just counted my sunglasses, and I literally have 20 pair. I'm like, why do I have 20 pairs of sunglasses?
Well, and we've grown up. That was one of Jacob Lieberman's original points, is like, we've kind of grown up forgetting how powerful light is. And this whole light association was talking about, like, just losing your fear of light. But this woman from the government agency, she said, like, the thing is that light emitting diodes in the right medical grade can act just like the sun, and your body will take them in super powerfully, and like they work. And so people need to be very careful, because they actually work. And I thought that was really interesting, because she was worried about the fact that this actually did something for you physiologically, and it wasn't just, like nothing. And she wanted to make sure that people were doing it safely. And I totally agree. Like, you go into a tanning bed, and what happens? It definitely tans you, right? It's artificial light tanning you. And some people really get a nice boost from the vitamin D and their emotions. So they're like, I feel bad, but I love to tan. And I'm like, all things in moderation, right? Learning what light sources are healthy for you and how much to have them. Like, for instance, cool study that's come out recently, and this is one of the things we started working with the doctors and people we've worked with who are holistically minded, so they understand that everything is connected. They're not working on just pieces of you. They're understanding you as a light being can utilize light and connect your body. So one of the things we love to do is innovate. So we created a red, yellow, near infrared eye mask. And the research is showing that when you just have a few minutes a day, in the morning especially, before 11 a.m., if you spend some time with this type of light directly over the eye, and so I usually do like a 5 to 10 to 20 minute session, it actually helps counteract any kind of age-related vision decline.
Marta, I just had an aha moment, just barely. Okay. Do you remember how I was telling you how I was having issues with my eyes? Like, everything was going really fuzzy, and I was having a hard time. I have not even had that, and I didn't realize it.
And you just forgot, because you've been using the lights for a while. I know we got them for you, so after your accidents and everything. Yeah, it's funny how things like that shift. Like, I'm 54, and my some people came over to have dinner at our house, and they're like, okay, I can't read the label on this spice. Where are your readers? And I was like, I think I did pick up a pair of those. Let me go and find one. And he's like, one, like, I have 50 of these reader glasses all over my house, and they were talking about there are different lenses they use. And I'm like, I actually got rid of my my writer on my driver's license about 10 years ago. Well, maybe 8 years ago. And they were like, what did you do? LASIK surgery, whatever. And I'm like, no, I've just been using this light therapy, and I don't know, my eyesight is just improved. And my doctor said I don't need these anymore. And so I'm just gonna, and I passed the test, and they were just like, the whole DMV was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I just put this light on my eyes. I don't know exactly. So the cool thing is the research is starting to show a lot of us are so worried about screen time. And it can damage your eyes to stare at a screen, especially that has a lot of blue violet light. Blue violet is so wonderful at many things. It's cleansing. It helps you with processing vitamin D, but it can, if you're staring at it, be strong enough to damage the retina. The cool thing is that red and near infrared and yellow light can reverse that process. So, if you just know how to work with light effectively, and that's what we love to teach about. So, we do all all these fun little classes, fun experiences, just so you can feel. But literally, even in one session, sometimes people are like, oh, wow, like that, I feel different, because light is such a critical aspect of us. So I, teach it all the time, but with the conferences, we actually have people do like a 20-minute light session. They can choose either our red, yellow infrared mask, or we also have another one that's red and blue. And that creates this lovely purple. And I know you've felt this inspiration that you get, the third eye, but you're a light being, you're meant to receive light. And so right here in the forehead, like in the center of your brain, you have that pineal gland. And that's what gives you that sense of consciousness, synchronicity. So right about now, it's, Self-Care September, I feel like a lot of people, they need a little reset, a little reboot, because, it's starting to get a little darker, and they start to, I see it on the internet, like, my months of kind of being a little depressed are coming up. And that's exactly when I feel like light therapy is so critical, because you start to help your body readjust its little body clock, the hormone clock of every cell can be readjusted and affected by simple light things. So that's super cool. And yes, Tori is one of our favorite people. Yeah, just like you just start to know, like, okay, we're shifting. It's every day now is a little darker. And so for like self-care tips, one of the things I highly recommend is getting that morning sunlight. And, with light therapy, you can do it in a way that really can direct light to the body in very specific areas that you're like, okay, my eyes, they need extra help. And, I need to get it at a safe time, right?
I can't even believe it. Like, I literally was like, I forgot.
Yeah.
It was a daily thing where, anytime that I would try to even look at my phone or try to read or all this stuff, I couldn't. I was like having issues. Like, I was telling my husband, I'm like, I've always had 20/20 vision. I can't believe it. I think I actually have to go to the eye doctor. But I never even scheduled the appointment for the eye doctor. I just have been doing the light, and I haven't been doing anything different.
Yeah, the lights, just light over the eyes is super powerful. And we're actually one of the few companies that does like a direct over the eye experience, and that we really tout that. And part of that is going back to that Jacob Lieberman conversation, because we were educated and mentored by someone who really understood that most of the light information you're getting is through your eyes. So when you're doing other therapies or things where you're blocking that, you're missing out on a lot of the information that is super critical to your brain, thus your endocrine system. That's all your hormones, that's your thyroid, that's your adrenals, that's your pancreas. That's, really critical aspects of your being happen because you receive light information, even through closed eyes. It doesn't have to be like that you're staring at light. You're actually not even meant to do that, right? We naturally close our eyes to experience the sun because of its intensity. So it's okay that we follow this natural pattern and recognize this, but it's also cool that at the same time as you're getting that information, you can know of some other places, like for self-care, the adrenals. Like the adrenal glands are like the big thing, right? Adrenal kidneys. And when we're under so much stress, we need to rejuvenate and help those areas. And so we take another pad and we'll say like, okay, while you have that pad on, put another pad of light on your adrenal glands. So when you come to the conference, we'll have you put a pad, maybe blue or red and infrared, and you'll just rest back on that. And it's like caressing those poor adrenal glands that have been just working so hard. And the response that you get from even just eyes closed and receiving that light, and adrenal glands and receiving the light, it's like magical. People, they look younger, like in the 20 minutes at the conference. We should really be doing before and afters in the conference.
Oh my
gosh. I love by the end of your conference, I just look around and I'm like, look at all these glowing people that are just like bouncing around, having a nice time. Like, it's really good. Super relaxing, super helpful. We've had people tell us over and over again that they don't remember the last time they were that relaxed. And, like that was like the first time in a long time that they're doing this at a conference, and you think they'd be self-conscious, but no, they're laid back, they're snoring or whatever, they're enjoying it. So that's the gift we want to give, because you know what, the other critical thing that I didn't realize was that we only heal when we're in a relaxed state. So if we have chronic issues like your eyes or your brain, when you were having, getting in that relaxed state is a critical aspect of healing. And that for me was another big aha.
The thing I think that people don't really think about, maybe they do, but I didn't. At the time when I had the injury, I was stuck in the fight, flight, or freeze, and I really did need a full on reset. And I was able to get that because of the lights. And if someone is like maybe facing trauma, or they were in a car accident or something that like triggered that, and they can't relax, and even when they're sleeping at night, they're still kind of like stuck, like my dentist told me that I have actually damaged all of my teeth in the last year because I was so much about like the stress and clenching.
Yes. Your vagus nerve, right?
Yeah. And did you know, I didn't know this, but this is the strongest muscle in your whole body. I'm like, no, your bicep. He's like, no, it's these muscles right here. Because I mean, think about it. Like you got to be able to chew on your teeth and stuff.
Why, yeah, this is
So
so
using
critical.
the lights has helped me because it's been able to reset you so that you can actually relax and have that rest and digest state. I love it.
I had the same thing, when I didn't have any big trauma. For me, it was just having 3 children and, and maybe having my last child I had when I was 40. And so I don't know, when I first found the lights for me personally, my mom's like, come over because I just feel so much better. And they're in their 70s and, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I had that same thing. I was sleeping at night, kind of grinding my teeth, and was having a lot of jaw tension that was translating into my back with some chronic problems in my back. And so one of the things we teach people is a cool protocol where we have you put light under the jaw. It is so powerful to release the tension in your jaw and help restore plasticity, neuroplasticity to the vagus nerve. And when you do that at the same time, and you have some other areas like your tight muscles in your groin, or your digestive system, or those adrenal kidneys, or the SI area in your back or your neck, when you're doing that at the same time, you're helping the whole body to remember, like to restore healthy energy into the body. And the results are actually astounding. Like I've seen posture changes that are immediate. I've seen, long-term pain shift. It is one of our favorite things to teach, and we talk about it all the time. We talk about alignment and protocol, but the big thing is that jaw. And it's a little bit challenging to get your jaw like, manipulated or, worked on. It's kind of a personal area, and putting your thumb in your mouth. And, so it's great that you can do this for yourself every day easily. And I also do it for my kids. This is a family wellness. I'm going to be talking about that at the conference. Like, we've had Tori on and other things. We are so big. Like my kids, yesterday, my daughter actually texted me. Literally, I could show you the text. And she was like, my friend has these menstrual cramps and her feet are bothering her. Would you please just get her the lights? Because it's just really irritating to hear her complain all the time, because she really could be so much healthier. And just give her the lights, Mom. Like, why aren't you giving her these lights? And it was so funny because that's the way my kids act. They're like, and so my daughter, who's in a dorm room right now, or an apartment, she just moved in for college. She's like, oh, okay, my roommate and I each share one of our, we have 2 masks, one for this really an acne treatment mask, and then also a facial rejuvenator. And my daughter loves both of them. She alternates between the 2. So she's like, my roommate has one and I have the other. And we're really afraid that our other suite mates are going to come in and see us one night when we're all lit up, because this is how we go to sleep. She's like, we put the mask on. We're both just relaxed out, and she shares it with her friend, her roommate. And it's just hilarious to me that they both look like this, like flat Stanleys, like laying down in their bed. I have to have someone come in and take a picture of it to share it with you guys. But I love that my kids have learned, and as I've heard your kids learning, that they can have these
10-year-old in there on the lights right now.
Yeah.
And we went and we put him on number 17, and he listened to some of his favorite meditations while he's listening to it. He's literally in my room right now.
That's awesome. See, for me, to have something that convenient and something that everyone can use in the family, it has been a lifesaver. And I've talked to one of my favorite practitioners who I see for Reiki. I met her through the lights, and she's like, the 2 things I would never get rid of in my life would be my Reiki training and my Luminuceuticals light therapy. She's like, it is so critical for me to have both of those things. And she said, I thought this was an investment, but what I realized, that you asked me this question back, like, so medical grade diodes, things that are giving you the right wavelengths at the right time, things that are directing into your body, they have a different physiological effect. So it really does matter the quality of the light, the sourcing of the light. And then we are also pulsing this light at specific frequencies. So it's another way to bring vibrational energy. It's not like you can hear it, but your cells can feel it. And so it's helping your body to restructure, rebalance internally. And that's because of the near infrared light. It really affects the water, the cellular water in the body. It helps to change its structure. And so what we see is just people that feel a lot different. So go ahead and try your Christmas lights, wrap them around you, and then come to the conference and try a 20-minute session. And you tell me whether or not they are the same thing, because that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's how your body responds. And just like that woman said many years ago, it really works. I mean, it's amazing, but there's lots of research. That's a cool thing. So I know that if you're interested in learning about the research, I publish different things onto the study to help people on the site. So that Power of Light VIP is a great place to go, because I do, like, we just did a class on how this helps to charge your cellular batteries. There's a lot of really cool things about like skin, about bones, about hormones, about all sorts of things. Because I don't care what your walk of life is, light can help assist you. When this class, I just have to say this one thing, it was so super cool. There's a recognition that like ATP, the cellular energy that you have, you are just like a plant or a bacteria or anything. The most common form and the most common thing about all forms of life, like our first ancestor to all forms of life, was able to take light and turn it into energy. And so this is the thing that connects us to all living things on this planet, is that we need light to charge our battery and to literally help our whole metabolism to work. And so it's not just like, oh, I might need light. You have to have light. Like, it is a critical aspect of your being. It's a critical aspect of the being of all life on this planet. So understanding it and utilizing it optimally is really a powerful thing to do for your health.
That is amazing. I love it. Well, kind of a funny little personal story I thought I'd share here is when my husband did number 17. It's a program on the lights. Mm-hmm. He laid back and he did the whole session. And when he got done, he pulled it off and he looked at me and he goes, "Is this thing legal?" What do you mean? And he goes, "I felt like literally like I was levitating at different times. And it was like a kaleidoscope going on." And he's like, and he's really kind of up in his head. He analyzes and overthinks a lot. And he's like, that was so like freeing and liberating. And he just got to get out of his head and just relax, And I'm like, yeah, it's legal.
That's so funny, because I remember so many times I would see your husband. I was like, the lights, you guys need the lights. And he was like, oh yeah, hi Marta. He just was really friendly, but he was just kind of like, yeah, maybe I don't know. But then it's so funny that he became your biggest, advocate and user in your house of them. My husband has to have his own set, like we were sharing them, and he's like, no, I need mine on my side of the bed, and you can have yours on yours.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Well, and there's so much research. I've met the third-party researchers that have done they have the data, they have all of the articles, like they can actually show you this is quantifiable, it's scientific, it's not just like, oh, like a Christmas tree lights, like what you're talking about, right? So
yeah, there's a definite way, and there's lots of proof. If you have a doubter in energy work, then this is the person, this is the area to look into, because it's really just scientifically proven that light does these things, and they're just still learning about how amazing it is on these other levels, but well researched, and definitely safe and easy to use. And we talked about this, that you asked me yesterday, like, share a little bit more at the conference. I'm going to do a special class there too, because a lot of our practitioners that come to your conference, a lot of people are foot zone therapists, or they do Reiki, or they, do something else. And they're always looking for a special tool that can help them and give more value to their clients. And I feel like light is such a powerful way to do that. And it's also a really powerful, economic driver for, a lot of the people we work with. I was today rushing around because we were fulfilling our commissions. When people refer lights, that's how it's all done, is through through direct referral and relationship marketing. And we wanted to do that because so people would have, someone to explain why these are different, and someone to help them experience them, and someone to guide them through all of this. And because we loved having that ourselves. Like green light, do you even know that this can help with migraines, and it's really helpful for pain relief and can be an important longevity thing? Most people don't have any knowledge of that. So having a little guide is really helpful, and we give people that financial incentive to share the lights, and it can be a powerful economic support for practitioners or lay people. But I wanted to, Tammy was like, you got to teach about this at the class because it's super powerful. So we're going to do a second class at the conference where I'm going to be talking about how light can actually be a great economic support, as well as value added support for practitioners. It's a designed for practitioner class, so that people can see, like, if I'm doing light therapy, and I'm doing a foot zone therapy, like Tammy was talking about, I know when I add the lights, I'm going to be adding value. I can charge more, I can get more, and I can also give less of my own energy and my own time with light. You can really speed things along and help facilitate, release of energy that's not serving someone, bringing in positive energy. So I find it's less of a drain on the practitioner, and it really is a wonderful support for the client. So we're going to be talking about that, and I'm glad you inspired me to do that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. People maybe don't even realize that. Like when I'm going to book a foot zone, most of the time I will go to somebody who has the lights. Now I have my own lights, right? But for years, I wouldn't really go to anybody unless they had the lights. Then I could take advantage of a light session and a foot zone at the same time. So it's huge. And it really does make a difference because the consumer, the people who are coming to you as clients, they're going to see that value as well. And that could really be complemented with any modality, not just foot zoning, Reiki, or other things at the same time. So I think it's important for people to really take that into consideration. And then you get to use them for yourself too,
Yeah, I always tell practitioners, these should be free to you because it's such a value to your practice, and your clients will want to pay for that extra benefit. And I know for foot zone therapy, when I get a foot zone therapy with lights, it's like, I don't go through, like, it's such a positive process. I don't feel like any kind of residual goes off. I don't have any kind of, weird feeling the next day or anything like that. And the practitioners was like, it's amazing how fast this is releasing and how great this is rebalancing. And it's just like, it's so cool how this is just recalculating so fast. And so that's one of the things that I know is helpful. And we've heard it over and over again. And we love hearing from this, but we hear it all the time. Like, oh, my lights are my favorite. It's working so well. Other practitioners want to know what I'm doing. And yeah, it's so cool. And I love that we're working with people all over the country that have that experience, and even in other countries as well. So those are some powerful things that we are excited to share about. So I'm so excited about to teach the class. The class that conference is going to be on family tips, like how to work with your children, yourself. Self-Care September, man. You can get a head start on that conference by doing a light trial with us, and you can learn more about that at the Power of Light VIP or on our website. It's like a 2-week trial. You get to test this out at home, and then you can come to the conference and actually even be inviting other people to the conference to get lights. And that would be a jump start on somebody's business if they are interested in doing that. So you can contact me about that. And I usually do a little giveaway of one of those, like a free trial to someone. If you have, I don't know if you have that capability today to kind of see people on the call. Tammy, do you want to do that? A free 2-week trial?
A giveaway? Well, yeah. I think Lorraine Barzy Taylor is the one that I would choose right away automatically. Lorraine, are you going to be at the Pocatello conference? I know that you live in Idaho Falls half the year, but then you head down to the Sunshine after that. So I know she knows the value of light. But it'd be cool to actually have you do the 2-week trial. And so, Marta, do you want to go ahead and get with her?
Yeah, just what I want you to do is you can connect with me. Let's see, the best way, I'll go ahead and put my email right here in the chat, and then you can connect with me through email. How about that?
Okay,
Um,
awesome. Well, her daughter, she brought two of her daughters down to a St. George conference that we had done. And one of her daughters is a doctor, I believe, in Idaho Falls. She is a doll. I love both of her daughters and her. She's so cute.
that's
Um,
awesome.
but she'll really love looking at all of the science and the research on PubMed and stuff about that as well. It's really cool. So
Yeah, and our trial, we do like 2 weeks where you get a daily tutorial from us. You get to have a personal consult with us, and you really get to dive into some of the nuances that are fun because there's so many different ways you can have light benefit to. And so you get to experience it daily. Everyone in your household, if you want to share it with other people during that time, you can too. But then, yeah, then you can share your experiences over those 2 weeks and let us know. Normally, this is a really inexpensive way to do it anyway, but we're going to offer one free. And if you want to get in on our, but just by being here today, you can get $50 off of our trial. Because if once you attend the class, we give you $50 off. This was a great class, so you can get $50 off of our trial. Whoop, whoop. Anyone can do that, and you can do that by you can go on to you can email me or connect in by messenger with anyone who connects in with you on our team. Okay, and so $50 off for being here today on our trial, and really that makes it so affordable. Like it makes it like a light session would be like less than $10 for you when you do them every day. So it's like awesome. It's like a couple $100 all. It's amazing.
or if you have 8 kids like me, then it takes the cost even down lower, right?
That's amazing. The bigger the family, the more beneficial the light therapy is because everyone can use it. And it stays in your house. You don't have to drive anywhere. Driving has gotten more expensive, right? You don't have to fly anywhere. You don't have to make an appointment. It's right there. And then all those other therapies that you enjoy are going to have even more depth for you. They're going to work even better. And just from your supplements to everything just works better because light assists that. So it's awesome to do. So the 2-week trial is amazing. And usually I give away one of those when you come to my class as well. So make sure you come to the class on there. Yay, Lorraine. And look I love your red hair. It'll be
She's a doll.
Yeah, and awesome. So that will be awesome. I'm excited to be at the conference. It's always lots of fun. And those sessions that we do those for free as a service. And so you can come but you do need to sign up. So sign up right away. Come over and visit us at the booth and make sure that we have enough time to get you in. And then that way you can get that full 20-minute relaxation. We give you that full session.
That is so amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you being on, and we'll see you guys next time. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tammy.
See ya. I do want to just add one thought. Oh my word, you guys, this Pocatello conference that is coming up. I know I say this every single time. Like, I can't wait for this conference, but this one, if you guys can get there, it's in Pocatello. We usually have people come from Washington, Oregon, Idaho, of course, because it's in Idaho, but then the surrounding states. We usually have a group come down from Canada, Montana, Wyoming. Like, we would really love to have you come. If you're kind of a ways away and you're thinking, well, do people travel to this? Yes, people come out of state to this. It's just an amazing event. I'm really looking forward to seeing a bunch of you there. If you guys have any questions at all, you see my email down below. Go ahead and reach out, but we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for being here. Oh, and let me know if you read any of those books or listen to them, what you think.